Hey everybody, welcome back to CineFlex. My name is Manny.
And I'm what?
And this video today we're going to give you guys our thoughts on The Devil All the Time, which is the latest Netflix movie based off a novel, I believe. Forget the author. But it does star quite an ensemble with Robert Pattinson, Tom Holland, Sebastian Stan. I can't remember any of the women's name.
Me neither. His dad's name is hard to say.
Oh yeah, Bill Skarsgård.
Scars. I need to start with an S. I forgot.
Yeah, pretty much Pennywise.
Pretty much.
Well, it's Pennywise.
Yeah.
So this movie, it kind of shows like a basic story. It pretty much follows a family and a couple of other people and sort of how their lives intertwine with each other. It's not really a movie where it starts and it's ending at a certain point where it's reaching a goal end. It's sort of just showing you, okay, this is what happened one time in this town.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's being narrated. It's being told like a story.
Yeah, I read that the narrator of this movie, because this movie is narrated, it's the author of the story, which is I always thought that the person narrating was Tom Holland's character older, he was himself was narrating.
I didn't even think about that.
That's what I thought it was gonna be at the end. It was gonna be revealed that it was him or something that was gonna show us that the narrator was Tom Holland. So we have Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson, both obviously British actors, doing a country accent, or would you say a
Southern accent? Yeah. So.
Yeah, and which they did a great job. I mean, Tom Holland. There were points where when Tom Holland was speaking that I can tell I can hear a little bit of that Tom Holland voice.
With the voices, what I felt was with Tom Holland, I could hear his voice.
Yeah.
Doing the accent, which was fine, but you could tell because you recognize his voice. But with Robert Pattinson, even though I felt his voice was it didn't suit him.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell his voice because I don't know him. I don't recognize his voice. I don't know what he actually sounds like.
Anyone from England, I guess. But yeah, you're right. When Robert Pattinson was speaking, I was like, yeah, that voice does not fit that face.
It doesn't suit him. There were times when I feel like his voice would not sound like that. It would be deeper.
Yeah, he was kind of up and down.
Kind of, it was kind of
all over the place. But I mean, it worked for me. I mean, it worked in the sense where I'm not seeing Robert Pattinson. I'm seeing that reverend character that he's playing, which was pretty much a nasty character, but someone that's being manipulative. Every character in this movie had huge flaws in them. There was, I guess when the movie starts, it shows that Bill Skarsgård's character. I think it says that the title of the movie where it says that he was always fighting the devil all the time. I think I don't remember word for word, but it said the title and saying that he was fighting the devil all the time only because he was at war, and then his wife pretty much passes away, and he got all religious, and then he ends up pretty much taking his life, right? Yeah. And I think it's with that shows a lot of these other characters too, that they are also fighting the devil all the time. Well, obviously Tom Holland was his son, so he has that. That's weighing on him. And Sebastian Stan was he was a sheriff, but he was not an upstanding character as a sheriff.
Corrupt sheriff. Yeah.
I don't know if he was so much corrupted as much that he just pretty much was looking out for himself. That's it.
Yeah, but he was dealing with bad people, basically.
Was that? Did they show that? I guess you're right. You're right.
Those guys that he was
Yeah, I guess he was a little crooked. And it was interesting because I didn't catch it until later in the movie where Sebastian Stan's character was. I didn't realize he was the brother of the waitress.
The waitress, yeah.
Yeah, until later when it was said, I got lost.
Things that's. I mean, I realized it when they meet each other, and she's like, "Oh, brother," or whatever. But then afterwards, I was like. To call because I remember the scene where she meets her husband, the guy she ends up marrying, and she's like, "Oh, my brother got me this job," and I was like, "Oh, she was talking about him."
Oh, okay. See, this movie, it's not so it's captivating. I mean, it's a slow burn, but there were times where like your mind can sort of drift off because it's not so much you're not so much into what's going on. Although it with movies like this, I mean, it's weird because you're at home. But if I was in a theater, then of course I'd be 100% captivated and focused on it. But being at home, I mean, I couldn't help myself when a movie isn't so much like in your face. It's just sort of things that are happening that you're watching. That it was easy to drift off. So there was a lot of little details I'm sure I missed like that, and then didn't until I paid attention later where they actually revealed, oh yeah, that he was the brother.
Yeah, but that's one thing I liked about the movie was that everything was connected from the beginning, and it doesn't reconnect until the end.
Mm-hmm.
And little things do connect early on, but like it doesn't go full circle until the very end. So it was cool to see that happen.
Yeah,
And like because throughout the movie, I was starting to like to have like to think like, oh, maybe this is gonna happen. Like, and I like when movies make you do that, like to think ahead. And I was wrong about everything I thought about, but it was cool that it made me want to like think, oh, maybe this is gonna happen or that's gonna happen. So that's what I liked about the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a slow burn, but it was like a nice steady burn, I guess. But like I said, it's not a movie that it's in your face and there's a lot of action or anything like that. It's just you're watching things happen and you're watching these characters, pretty much nasty characters, everybody who's flawed and how their past can affect their future and their present, and pretty much the different paths that someone's life can take, depending on how other people have affected it.
Yeah, and that's like really shown in the beginning, like when they meet each other in the cafe where the two girls work at. Because it's like the other guy was about to sit in his place, but he let him sit there. The dad, Tom Holland's dad.
Mm-hmm.
And that like changes everything because now the bad guy meets that other girl who he ends up marrying, and he meets the girl he marries. So that's good. And then they redo that when they're in the church, and that one girl that his mom was trying to like pair him up with, like ends up marrying
the priest.
The priest.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of great little moments in this movie where I at first when I was watching them, I was thinking, oh, like this could be a series just based on this character, like maybe the sheriff and the brother and the sister. That it could be like this whole movie could be a series.
Yeah,
I feel like it can lead to like more things, and we could follow Tom Holland at the end, where he leads to and where his life is gonna go. And there's just a lot of little great little moments in this movie, but as a whole, I mean, I thought it was it was a pretty good movie. You can take out those little moments and say that that those little moments in itself was better than the whole movie as a whole, at least for me. If that makes sense.
That were specific.
Yeah, there was like specific moments. Like, hey, that was a great moment. That was a great moment. And then when it all comes together, I was like, okay, it makes for a pretty good movie. But there was just certain scenes where I feel like, if we can expand more on that story, then maybe that could make a great like TV series or a great movie in itself.
Yeah. Now that you say it, like I think it would make a really
right. Like
TV show. Because they have various, not too many stories, but various stories, and they do go into them like at their own time, and I think in a TV show they could like expand on it and like really tell you that story. Yeah,
like what would be cool if like that I forget that guy's name, the guy who's the brother. I mean the guy who's the sister of the sheriff, his husband, that couple.
Yeah, I forget their name. His name was Earl.
Was his name Earl?
Carl.
Something like that, right? Let's see. Because that was played by Jason Clarke. Carl. Yeah, Carl's character. Like, that and his wife could be a whole series in itself with, like, an actual sheriff, like, looking for them, saying, like, oh, there's these murderers happening. Here's a pattern that they do. They take pictures. Like,
and doesn't know that it's his sister.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, but all in all, I mean, I'm curious to see how the novel is. If the novel is pretty much just following the same thing, or if it goes into more depth with these characters. But it's definitely just it's a character study with a bunch of characters. I mean, usually character study movies we see as like one character, and we follow them. But this we see a little bit of everybody else, and how like the town itself kind of affects them too, like just living in a small town.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was another thing I really liked was I tend to like movies like this where they're like telling you a story.
Yeah.
And obviously they don't all do it right, but I think this one did right. And one thing I did like was that the narrator would tell you things that you would normally not know, like when his sister, Tom Holland's sister, was killing herself, and the narrator tells you like, oh, like what's going in her mind, you
right?
know? Like I like that. I like that you get to know those things.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah, you get to know a little bit more that the other characters don't know. Like various things throughout the movie that happen that the narrator tells you what's going through their mind. Like I really like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. As I was watching this movie and as it ended, when it ended, I initially thought I was like, oh, that was a cool movie. I don't know if I see myself watching it again or anything like that. But now, like talking about it, like
I kind of
it's making me think about it more than I thought I would. And yeah, it does make me want to watch it and revisit it again. I mean, it just goes to show that even though it's a movie that I say it's a slow burn and but there was a bunch of good little moments, but at the end it was a pretty decent movie. It just goes to show if it's making me think this much, then there's something there. And yeah, that's probably something that everybody saw in this movie. I mean, I'm sure when they read the script, they thought it was decent. They just saw something there. I'm sure that's what they saw, and especially the director. I'm sure that's what he saw when he read the book too. Like, oh. It probably stuck with him, and he's like, you know what, I want to make this into something.
Yeah. And not to mention, like, the acting. Like, I thought everybody did a really good job.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't any specific, like, blow your mind kind of moment, but everybody did a good job throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, it always blew my mind at seeing how these British actors can do American accents, and now they have to do an American accent and
plus another accent.
Plus another. That's why you can hear Tom Holland's American voice, American accent that he does in Spider-Man, like
because you can hear his voice,
his
his actual voice. You can hear it throughout the movie.
Yeah,
obviously he's doing that accent, but like I said, that's why I feel like Tom Holland was doing an accent but not changing his voice.
Yeah.
Whereas Robert Pattinson was changing his voice and doing an accent.
Yeah.
But I didn't really think his voice suit him. Like it sounds like a voice that could be like from someone.
Like someone you meet. You're like, oh, I didn't expect that to come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
That voice or that sound.
You're like, that doesn't suit you.
Yeah, is that really your voice?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, great cast, great acting throughout the whole movie. Bill Skarsgård's voice, accent, I thought was probably the best one. Like he sounded genuine. And there was a lot of little lessons in this movie that you can take away too. I mean, from father son to, I guess, religion. I guess too. There's a lot of little things you can pick.
Yeah, I think one of the big things, the biggest thing the movie was trying to like portray, was that there's all these different kinds of people that you would think are good people as because of what they are, but they don't have to necessarily be like a priest, a police officer, a waitress, you know, like, and it like shows you the dark side of what that can actually be. And then there's this random little kid who, grew up, had his family, and then saw a dark side to his father, but understood him in a way, like what he did and all that. I mean, he didn't do anything really bad, but like, he did kill his dog.
Right. Well, he was trying to rescue his wife or something.
But the kid didn't get it at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
Cool. All in all, yeah, it's definitely a movie worth to watch, especially during this COVID times. This was a treat to have something new to watch. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Netflix. It's free to watch if you have Netflix. And if you have seen it, let us know in the comments below what you think about it. Did it leave you thinking? Did you initially thought it was a pretty decent movie, but then it just stayed with your mind, and now watching this video, it's gotten you thinking more about it? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and share, guys. Stay safe.